Citizen Sleeper is a slightly different form of a computer RPG. The game puts you in the role of a sleeper, a cybernetic artificial human that had previously been serving a term of indentured servitude in a hazardous environment with the consciousness of a actual human uploaded into their brain while the original human stays in cold sleep somewhere where the sleeper is working off the human's debt. Except you escaped and have now fled to a free space station called the Eye. However, your body is breaking down, by design, and you need to get stabilizer to keep that from happening. So you work with various people on the station to get the necessary resources to get more stabilizer while also helping them out with their problems. The way this works out mechanically is something similar to the resolution mechanics of Forged in the Dark and Powered by the Apocalypse tabletop role-playing games. You have a 6-sided die roll, where 6 is a guaranteed success, 5 is a success with a chance of a more neutral result, 4 and 3 have a lower chance of success, a greater chance of neutral, and also a chance of a negative result. 2 has a split between a chance of a neutral and a negative result, and then 1 is just negative. Instead of rolling dice for each action, at the start of each game day, you get some dice assigned based on how much health you have, where you are in the process of breaking down, that is, and you can assign those to complete objectives for various storylines by filling out their clocks. However, for those with time limits, there will also be a clock that advances with each in-game day. So you need to juggle your limited supply of stabilizer to restore your health, so you have more dice to complete your story goals before time runs out, potentially causing those goals to fail. That said, by certain points in Citizen Sleeper, it becomes consistently easier to maintain a supply of stabilizers, so juggling the dice supply aspect of the game becomes less of an issue. As you complete various storylines, you get points that will allow you to level up several different attributes of your character, which can in turn give you a positive modifier on checks related to that attribute, which means you're more likely to succeed on certain checks, which also helps manage your dice supply, as you can get by with lower die rolls, letting you save your higher rolls for pinch situations. You can also get special abilities, including one that lets you reroll your whole hand of dice, which helps if you've only got one good roll or nothing but bad rolls. In all, it makes for a good computer or console game presentation of the Powered by the Apocalypse and Forged in the Dark structure. Any problems with Citizen Sleeper then become less about the core concept of the core mechanics, instead problems with the execution. For example, the game runs into issues with communicating at certain points that you're just going to need to wait to move forward with the plot here. Additionally, the ending where you just stay on the station, in the version of the game that I have, isn't presented as a ending. There's a credit roll if you go through the endings where you depart on the slow boat colony ship or get absorbed in the station's agricultural consciousness, but not one if you decide to just live out your life here. Particularly if you've hit a level of resource equilibrium where running out of stabilizer is no longer an issue. Now, this may have been a conscious choice by the designers, but it's kind of crappy. It's one that presents the idea that staying to become part of a community, becoming part of a group, and choosing to live a life other than spending the rest of the days on the run isn't a satisfying way to live your life. Now, it's possible that this was a situation where that ending was effectively removed from the game with the incorporation of the DLC, but that's also kind of crap. This tonal issue also comes up with the DLC, which adds a larger plot threat of a technologically disruptive wave called the Flux, spreading out from the core of the system with the inhabitants of the Eye, along with a upcoming refugee fleet having to find a way to contend with it, determine what's causing it, and then when it turns out to be part of a plot by a corporation to take over the system, how to contend with that plot. Except with how the story plays out, it breaks some of how the clocks work in the Forged in the Dark and Powered by the Apocalypse games. The players get to see all the clocks, specifically. Now, in those games, you don't know what they're all for, but the players can see all the clocks and know that something is filling up and will happen when that clock fills. However, partway through the process, someone on the council comes to you and tells you that they're onto what you're planning, which causes your two companions to panic and jump the gun. Near as I can tell, this is happening specifically to force along several subsequent plot points to set up the later DLC, which is fine if the game had surfaced a non-specific clock separate from your planned timeline for the launch to let you know that something else is going on, even if you had no idea what it was. It could have even been labeled something is happening, and just not no particular details other than that. It would have given me the idea as a player that something additional was going to happen, either based on the actions I was taking or the passage of time, without explicitly saying what. Otherwise, the various individual stories in the game are very well told, and the environment of the Eye feels like a well realized, living, breathing place, even if it's one that, as a player, I only see a significant remove from what my character would theoretically be able to see. It's also done a great job of giving me a better understanding of the Powered by the Apocalypse and Forged in the Dark systems. I still think that as much as D&D 5e, that system gets over-applied when it comes to talking about game systems used to run the games the campaigns and game worlds you want to run. Um, Powered by the Apocalypse and Forged in the Dark have kind of the same problem in the modern discourse, in the sense of, no, you shouldn't be using 5th edition. You should be using, we're going to put Powered by the Apocalypse or Forged in the Dark in the place of this, without considering that perhaps those systems don't work as, also have their own limitations and don't work as well as certain other contexts. Like, for example, light and fluffy magical girls as opposed to dark and gritty Madoka Magica style magical girls, for example. But still, in the context of Citizen Sleeper, it's a very good fit in terms of the resource management and getting through having to manage your stress or health or other levels and that sort of thing. It made for ultimately a tremendously fun game to play, and I do fully recommend it. And as I mentioned when I did my Summer Game Fest picks, I'm looking forward to picking up the sequel this year when it comes out, or once it's come out. This video will come out after, theoretically, the announced release date for Citizen Sleeper 2, and I look forward to getting it and playing it at some point in the future. Links will be in the doobly-doo for where you can get Citizen Sleeper 1. Possibly Citizen Sleeper 2 if there's a pre-order link available as of the time this video goes up.
Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed the show, please like and subscribe. And also consider backing my Patreon. Patreon backers get episodes up to 1 week early of this show and any future Let's Plays. Also, please consider backing my Ko-fi. Tossing me a few bucks also helps support the show, and it's not a monthly obligation or anything like that.